Sue is my go-to person whenever I have questions about my students and their social needs. And personally, my son also worked with Sue and was thrilled with how just a little bit of work on social communication helped him feel more confident and able to communicate with his peers. So with that, Sue, welcome, and
Thank
I'll
you.
give the microphone to you.
Terrific. Thank you so much. I hope everyone can hear me well. So, opening the door of communication with your teen. It was really funny on Facebook. I posted today that I was going to be doing this, and I posted a picture of a very open door, and somebody posted back underneath showing a picture of, "Don't you think you mean this?" And it's like a picture of like clawing the door open, right? Trying to open that door. And I thought that was really funny. I think that sometimes with our teens, when we ask them, "How's everything going? How was school today?" And you get like, no, whatever. Good. They're just they're just wanting to answer and walk away. So this presentation is going to provide techniques and strategies to empower you and your teen to speak and listen together. I will also give information to understand how tone of voice and nonverbal communication and timing play a role in building conversations. Okay, so strengths and weaknesses. So whose child enjoys math and whose does not? Whose child loves art and whose does not? Whose enjoys reading? Whose does not? Does your teen love video gaming? Does your teen enjoy being social? Now, when I ask you, would you rather talk about something you like or something you don't like? How do you think you would answer that? My guess is you'd probably want to talk about something that you really enjoy doing. However, that's not the case. We need to talk to our kids about a whole bunch of things. So we need to open that door. So we want to know that every teen, every child is individual. And we want to really know who they are so that we can celebrate their unique selves. If every day you ask, "How was school?" and every day they say, "Good," with a dismissive tone of voice, then change the interaction. We need to change that interaction to a desired interaction. So how do we do that, you ask? What we want to do is we really want to make a daily plan for a structured conversation. And the important thing is that when you make this daily plan, it is not you making the plan, it is a we situation. You want to make the plan with your teen. So you're going to say, we're going to set a time that works for both of us so that we can talk every day. I want us to interact more, and I like hearing about you and your day, and I want to share too. When we make this daily structured, it's again going to be the us and not just me asking you questions. We are going to share together. So the first step is to discuss the time and place. And I'm going to have another slide on time and place because trust me, time and place is really important. So it's really important to choose together the time and place so that there are no surprises, so that you can interact more, and so that you can take the time together. Now you're going to talk about your day, so everything's set up and it's discussed beforehand so that there are no surprises and it becomes an everyday flow of conversation. And what I want to say to you as parents, because throughout this whole presentation, I'm going to tell you that you are the model. You are their model. in your words and in your actions. So we will set a time of day that works for us. We're going to talk about our day. And then we say to each other, you can talk a bit about each class. I might ask you to tell me about lunchtime. You can ask me to tell me about my day. You can ask about my day. What I want to say about that is that, again, with the model, if your teen says to you, how was your day? You want to model more than just good, because that's what has been going on. So you want to really discuss what you did, right? You want to talk about your day more than just the one word response, because you are their model. So we can also get them to ask questions, because if you said, it was good, I went to lunch with a colleague, and then there's nothing asked, you might say to them, hey, can you ask me where I had lunch? Or can you ask me where we went to lunch or who I went to lunch with? Because what we want to do is, if your teen does not know what to ask you, it is not that we need to let them guess. We get to just tell them what we want them to ask so that they can ask us. And there's the model. So ask me where I went to lunch. Ask me what I did for lunch. Then bring it back to what they like to do. So here we go. So they ask, and you respond with a really nice response. You might model some questions, and then you can say, we can ask the best and worst of our day, and we can share anything else with each other too. We will listen to each other using curiosity. So we're setting the mode, we're setting the tone of the conversation. We're letting them know that we're going to go into this, each one of us, with curiosity and not judgment at all. Because if there is judgmentness from us to our teen, they are not going to share and open up. So we're going into this with curiosity, and we're also going to use compassion. So when you bring it back to what they like to do, and you say, and let's say you know that they really love math, and you say, anything fun in math today? You want to be listening and observing and watching for angst, difficulty, a little bit of a show of struggle from them, right? And then you want to show your compassion and say, I'm really sorry you went through that today. That must have been really difficult. That sounds really hard. And then you want to ask, what do you think you'll do about it? Because it's really important to encourage them to solve the problems that they can. And then you want to ask, do you want to hear my thoughts? Can I share my thoughts on it with you? Now, if it's a bad grade, which we've all been there, again, no judginess, bad grade, but we do want to talk about a solution. And if they need to email their teacher, then that's a conversation too. And without the judginess, hopefully it'll open that door. And when that door is open, what I want to say about your teens when they're having a hard time in their academics, or a teacher posted a wrong grade, or they're having issues in that class and they did not do well on a test, there may be an email that needs to go out. Okay, email with a teen in middle school might be very difficult for some of them. So again, we are their model. Here, let's write an email, not doing the email, but actually maybe on another piece of paper, and say, here's what you could write, or maybe this, or what do you want to say, and kind of compose it together. Then they will always have that email, and then you could say, now you can write it. they will always have that email to look back on for more times, because they're going to have a lot of time in their academic lives from teen on where they're going to need to email their teachers, and they're going to need a model. So I'm going to encourage you to do that, because I see a lot of clients in my office, and they're the ones who I see, the teens, and they're the ones that are saying, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, do I have to do that? But once you make the model, it's really so much easier for them. So really encourage solutions that they can do, and see if they can figure it out first themselves before we jump in and try to solve it for them. And then always ask, do you want to hear my thoughts on that? Can I share my thoughts on that? Oh, let me move out of the way from this woman. I don't want her pushing me away. There we go. Here we go. So, time and place. I said that you really want to set that time and place, and time and place is a social skill. Hands down, it's a social skill. It has to do with executive functioning. When you make a plan, when you make a time, making a plan is really executive functioning, the ability to set this plan. And it's really important to be very clear on a plan. So the ability to choose when and where is a skill that really needs to be done correctly, because if it can foster communication when it's done well, and when it's not done well and it hasn't been set, it really blocks the communication completely. So this, for those of you who have a significant other, a spouse, or someone in your relationship, you're in a relationship, and that when they come home from work, right when they come home from work, if you have something really exciting or intense to share, and you walk right up and that person really needs 10 minutes just to go sit or to relax or to do whatever, that is not a good time. And you are not going to get your needs met at that time. And I bet all of you in here know that. I know that we all do it. And it's something that really needs to be looked at, because when you make the change and you really choose your timing, oh, I have this, what I need to talk about. Oh, he's playing his game right now. This is not the best time. So it's really important to check in with the time. Give them a little chill out time. Give your teen a little chill out time. If it's not a good time, we are always the model. The words are clear. The words are very clear, by the way. When they come up to you and you're busy and you do not have the time for them, you want to say, this isn't a good time, but I really want to hear you. I really like what you have to say. I really want to hear you, but this just isn't a good time. Can you give me 5 minutes? Can you give me 10 minutes? Whatever it is, you set the time, and here you are being the wonderful model. And then you set the place. I'll come to your room, or can you come back here in 10 minutes? It's a time and place situation. When you want to set the time and place for the daily conversation, you want to choose the best time for you and your teen, and you need to discuss it together. So it gets to the slide. When is your time and place? Is the best time and place to talk at the dinner table? For a lot of people, it is. And at the dinner table, you want to make sure there are others. So you want to make sure that there's turn taking going on. There's always a back and forth. Bedtime might be the best time. You sit down on the bed, you have calm time together. Let's talk about our day. In their room, maybe they're most comfortable on their bed. It's important to discuss, because you're not going to know until you have this conversation with your teen and really set it. And then the worst time and place to talk. It's after a bad day. It's during their gaming time or during their art time when they're drawing right in the middle of it. Not a good time to talk. When you're on the phone, don't you just hate that? When, oh, mom, dad, it's like, wait, I'm on the phone. Wait, this isn't the best time. I really want to hear what you have to say. Can you give me 5 minutes? And then bad moods. When your teen is in a bad mood, you know it. And to push to talk is not it. You never want to push. You want to encourage. And in order to encourage, you need to set the time and place so that you can do that. Speaking and listening. Hold on 1 second. So, speaking and listening, I spoke a little bit about how turn taking is so important, and it's really important during your planned conversation to have reciprocity. It's a back and forth and turn taking. In my book, Social Rules for Kids, let's see if I can show you that. Oh, there it is. Social Rules for Kids, almost. There are rules that help. So the first chapter is called Talking and Listening, and rule number 5, let me get to rule number 5. It's called Know the Speaker is Not King or Queen, and it speaks about the speaker's rules. The speaker looks at the listener while talking to see if the listener is interested, to see if the listener understands. So it's really great to go over the rules and understand the rules before you even go into your structured talk. And you get to discuss, you get to talk about this. The whole idea is you get to talk with your team about talking and listening, because you both want to make sure that you are both really actively being a speaker and a listener. So, speaking and listening. The speaker checks for the listener's understanding. Now that means that you have to really be looking at the person and making sure that they're head nodding and that they're showing that they're interested, and that they're showing that they understand. Because if the speaker looks at the listener and the listener goes like this, and there's the head nod, there's the head tilt, there's the eye squinting, there's the eyebrows going down, something happened where they don't understand. And so at that moment, when they don't understand, it's really important that the speaker stops, because that's what we do, is we will be watching the listener and we'll stop and say, oh, did you understand that? Or do I need to repeat that? Or am I making sense? Oh, wait, let me get to the point, right? Because you just really want to be together and understand each other. You want also, the speaker needs to pause for the listener's comments. So there's nothing like somebody monopolizing the conversation where they're just talking and talking and talking and talking, right? And if your teen isn't talking, maybe you're talking too much. If your teen is talking, maybe they're the monologuers and they're talking too much. It needs to be a give and take. And by talking about speaking and listening, you get to really understand that, oh, we need to share with each other. There's a breakdown on our communication. So we really need to be listening and speaking. So with the listener has to know that they need to nod their head. And when the speaker takes the pause, there's the head nod. And then you want to show interest by saying, and by the way, your teen, it will be really good to talk about what the listener does, because the listener really shows interest by saying, nice, cool. We show that we're listening. We show it. That's why this is really interesting in putting on this presentation, because usually I do it live and the people are all going like this. And in this, I just see boxes, and it's so fascinating not seeing a head nod. And so really, it's really interesting just talking. It's not a back and forth. I'm here to tell you, I'm the monologuer, I'm the presenter. So obviously I'm just talking. However, when you are set in your communication and you're going to have this talk with your teen, you do not want to be like that. You want to have it interactive. Now, again, getting back to the listener shows interest, then the listener asks questions and makes comments on the speaker's topic. So if you find that your teen is not on topic, because sometimes the teens go off topic, it's okay. You just want to say, oh, well, when I was talking about XYZ, the topic, to get them back to the topic. So that's how you get people back to a topic. You say, oh, when I was talking about or speaking of, and you want to make the topic very clear so that you both really know what you're talking about. That's speaking and listening. It's very important to have you, so really important. Oh, something about my book. So my book has the whole first chapter is on speaking and talking and listening, and it's stuff like it says use a friendly greeting, use chit chat with greetings, don't be a turn hog, be both a listener and speaker, know that the speaker is not king or queen, which I said, listen to the speaker, know when to stay on topic and change them. There's a whole bunch of things under, and then I have chapters on friends, a chapter on feelings. And what I like to do with my book, just to let you know, is it can be used to help you open that door of communication. You can just choose one of the rules. If I go to rule number 66, oh, stop being stuck. And you might talk about what it's like to be stuck. So you might want to highlight the ones that you like and just leave the book out and have your teen find it. That's what I recommend for parents to do. And they always find my book. Teens actually like to read it. And then you open it up and they see what is highlighted. Oh, this is interesting. So you might, just to let you know. Okay, speaking and listening. So your teen's social experience happened at the unstructured time of the day. I know you know that. And many kids love that open time, the unstructured time of recess and lunch. And those that have issues with social interactions may feel that recess and lunch is overwhelming and hard. So there it is. Some teens love it. Some teens have a really hard time with it. It's really important to find out and listen to their tone of voice and body language to ask more questions with compassion and curiosity. Again, not judgment because they're not going to open. So it's really important to ask, who did you hang out with at lunch today? Was it fun? And did you join in? Because you're going to want to hear about what they did at recess and lunch. When social situations occur that need attention, again, you want to see if your teen can solve it themselves by asking, what will they do about it? What's your plan? Then you can gently suggest ways to solve it. Do you want to hear my thoughts? So the bottom part of this slide where it says note to parents, kids can be cliquey. They may want to talk only with their own group. You want to talk about finding someone who wants to be friends because kids can be cliquey. And by the way, recess and lunch is not easy. It just isn't. Even if you're really great at being social, you're going to have social situations because that's what happens. They're learning social and things go on at that recess and lunch that aren't quite easy for them. Sometimes they don't understand why they're not being accepted. And sometimes there's rejection going on. So they need to know that it's standard for kids to be cliquey, that kids want to be and they can want to be in their own group. And then you want to talk about finding someone who wants to be friends. We want to empower them to ask someone new to hang out. And we want to encourage texting with their friends. And I'll get to that in discussing rules in a second. So if they are having some issues, you want to ask follow-up questions in the next few days to see if the situation has progressed in a positive way. You want to encourage them to be social. Ask if there's someone that they'd like to invite from their friend group. You want to keep them as social as possible. So ask if they want to invite friends from their friend group, or if they want to invite a new peer over. Help them set up a hangout with a peer outside of school. it's really important if there are many teens who I see in my office, some of them get anxious when they feel like they're going to have someone over because they don't know what to do and they're worried about that. That's their fear. It's like, well, what am I going to do when the peer gets here? And it's like, oh, well, you as a parent can say, well, why don't we come up with a plan? And we're not going to absolutely go into that plan and stick to that plan because we don't know your friend and we want to make sure that your friend loves doing what you want to do as well. And so let's set a plan. It's not set in stone, but let's talk about what you'd want to do. Maybe they want to go for a walk. Maybe they want to do some gaming time together. Maybe they want to do an art project together. Maybe they want to cook together. Maybe they want to go for a walk downtown and have lunch together. There are so many things, and it's nice to talk about it first and set a plan so that it reduces their anxiety. As well as you want to discuss that when the peer comes over, the peer might say, oh, I don't like to do a cooking activity. And so your teen has to be able to understand what compromise is. Oh, you don't want to do that? Okay, you don't want to do that. So what do you want to do? And then you want to talk about your teen on, if they don't want to do it, you want to, well, we can do yours for some of the time. We could do mine for some of the time. We could do mine this time. We could do yours next time. There is a plan to be made, even within the plans that you made with the peer who comes over. Change can happen and it happens quickly. So it's really important to talk about how that can change. So you want to discuss the ability to compromise. And that's really important. Okay. So easy to follow. The texting. Yes. I knew there was one more thing that I needed to do on here. So texting. They're teens and they're starting their whole texting with friends. And it's really, really important to talk about texting because it needs to be done socially appropriately. If your teen reaches out and texts somebody and then they don't get back to them, and then your teen sends 15 text messages after that, that's just not the appropriate social in texting. In texting, we text someone and we give them time to get back with us. And then how long, you want to talk with your teen, how long do you think it would be until you get back to them again, and then you try again? Well, maybe it's some time. Maybe you give them a few hours. Maybe you give them 5 hours. Maybe you give them a day. And then you get back to them and you say, oh, I sent I sent you a text. Do you want to get together on Saturday? And then they don't hear from them again. And you do not send 15 more texts. You wait and you wait. And then you want to have the hard conversation of what ghosting is. Because again, social can be tricky. It can be hard. And you want to talk about what ghosting is. And what ghosting is when you invite someone or you text someone and they don't get back with you. And they don't ever get back with you. And that's not when you want to send 15 texts. You just want to allow for that. And we just really want to keep our teen happy with who they are. What I say to most clients in my office, it's a 50-50% chance that someone's going to like you. 50-50, right? Not everybody likes everyone at all. You might come in here and you might not like what I'm saying, and that's your choice. And we get to go with who we mesh with, and it's up to us to find who we mesh with. And whoever didn't text them back and who ghosted them, that's them. And so that you find someone who wants to be friends. It's really important to find someone who wants to be friends, and don't get sad when someone ghosts you. It's just the way it is. And don't get sad when they're cliquey, because they're cliquey. And that's just the way it is. So as we normalize these things, because this happens all the time, it helps them to understand that it's not them. It's just the way it is. And it is the way it is at recess and lunch and in their social. So my rule number 49 in my book under the chapter called uh, bullies is watch out for kids who tease. The person who teases or bullies wants power. I do not give it to them. Many children tease and get teased. There's the normalizing it. Kids joke and tease in a playful way, in a sarcastic way, in a mean way, in an annoying way. I tell someone when I'm being bullied, I want to talk about being bullied in a minute, and then I stay strong and do not let teasing bother me. So in my book, teasing and bullying are defined. Someone who teases makes fun of another person to annoy, hurt someone's feelings, or make them feel badly about themselves. Teasing can also be used to joke amongst friends, because you have to know everybody in here has been teased by friends too. A bully is someone who is aggressive, intimidates, and can hurt someone physically and make them scared. That is why they have to tell someone when they're being bullied. It is really important, really important to let your teen know that they have the power. They have the power with both the teaser and the bully not to embrace the hurt, to keep their own power, to stay strong. So it's, how do you do that? You know, how do you say stay strong when there are teasers out there? And I'm going to say that the way is to open that door of communication with your teen so that you can share with them that there are going to be teasers and that you can respond without owning it. And here's the response. It can be role played. So when those teasers are teasing, you stink, you whatever, you're going to respond with, so. Here, I'm going to do it again. So. See the shoulder shrug? See the so? See the I don't care? Because I don't. And because they don't have to. Now, do we get hurt inside? That's the conversation that we have to have. Yes, it is a little hurtful. Isn't it hurtful when people tease? It stinks. Who really wants to be teased? No one really wants to be teased. It can hurt us, but we don't want it to hurt us deeply. We just want to know that this is what happens and we can respond with so. Now, it's really important to role play it because here is what happens when it goes wrong. The peer at school says, you stink. So that is not the so I'm talking about. You don't want to put your head down. You don't want to say it really quietly. You want to use a strong, you want to use an I don't care. And you want to shrug it off so that they don't do it again. Because the teen who responds with the big response when the teaser says you stink and they say, no, I don't. No, I don't. That teaser has just found their victim. And that is not cool. So we just want to really respond with a so. So open that door. And then the question you get to ask your teen is, have you ever been teased? It's a really good question to ask because everybody has, and it's a great conversation. Which brings me to my next slide. So, oh, let me get out of their way. Sorry about that. Move myself over. So you open that door of communication. And were you teased? Anybody here teased? Of course, by family and friends, but how about by a teaser? So many times when teens are teased, the parents have been teased. And when the parents have been teased and victims when they were younger, excuse me, they really do not want their teen to experience the same turmoil and grief. Many of my clients' parents have shared with me their fears on this. Their child is now the victim, like they were the victim. And emotions run high, and your teen may be very great at reading you. They're looking at you to see how you respond. So they're watching. And if you just give a little, oh, this is so hard, it's really important to allow them to know that that's okay, that emotions do run high, and that we're going to talk about it. Get it out in the open. Let's just get rid of the stigma. Let's just get rid of it right now. Yes, I was teased. And yes, it was hard. And now we know that it's easier if we just respond with so. Really good to take the stigma away. Now, the next one, have you ever been the messenger? It's really good to talk about the messenger, because kids don't just, peers at school may not just tease, but they may try to manipulate. They may try to manipulate a peer to do or say something that others are going to laugh at. That's what I'm talking about, the messenger. You can talk about not being the messenger, and I'm going to give you an example of what the messenger is. So the peer at school says, hey, go tell Mary that Josh likes her. Okay. Now it's really exciting if your teen isn't someone who's really in on it, and then all of a sudden someone kind of who seems kind of cool is like saying, hey, oh no, here's the juicy gossip. Go tell Mary that Josh likes her. You really want to talk about being that messenger with your teen and say, don't do it. When someone asks you to go tell someone else, the response is always no, 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 thanks, no, no. How about you do it? No, I think it would be better that they hear it from you. Those are responses that you get to talk to your teen about so that they can go do what they need to do. Now, it also opens the door of communication about gossip and rumors. The rule is not only to not be the messenger, but do not share rumors. Rumors cannot be verified, and they can really get your teen in trouble. So, peers get angry at the messenger. They get angry at the person who shares the rumor. So open that door of communication with your teen and ask, what do you do when you hear a rumor? Have you heard any rumors? Now, were you ever socially anxious? And, social anxiety, I see a lot of teens in my office who have social anxiety. And 12% of the population has social anxiety. 300 million have social anxiety disorder. So social anxiety is a fear of rejection. It's not feeling good about yourself, and it's looking for acceptance of yourself. They're looking for acceptance of yourself from others. So to avoid being rejected by others, they avoid the spotlight. They may have smaller conversations with just one person or a few that they're close with. They stay out of the spotlight. They just kind of, And so to help, here's the tricky thing about social anxiety. And so to build social courage, you need to put yourself in those situations that are anxiety causing. You need to actually be social. So how do you be social when you have anxiety about it? It's really important that you know that part of it is building their self-esteem, and to know their self-worth, and for you to really bring out their self-worth and tell them how great they are. And of course, you're the parents telling them how great they are. We want them to embrace it. So that's part of it. Part of social anxiety also is doing some exercises to bring down the social anxiety, like breath work and actual exercises. So if your child actually has social anxiety, you really want to get them some help, because that will take more than just a little push. However, if they're just a little nervous, little stressed, it's good again to talk about it. Oh, yeah. And you may have had a time when you were socially stressed, and you want to talk about that too with them. Get it out in the open. Let's talk about our social anxiety. Let's talk about being a little nervous. It's okay to be a little bit nervous. It's okay to push ourselves in those situations, make a plan for those social. I mean, the holidays are coming up. Certainly you want to plan. You're going to be going into all of these family and friends. Your teen is coming with you, and they need to be social with people that they don't even know well. It's really good to have that conversation with them on how to do that. Make a plan. And then, of course, it gets to experience. Did you have a friend who ghosted you? If you had a friend ghost you, please share it with and ghosting means that they don't get back to you. They drop you as a friend, but without telling you, right? It's just kind of, they don't get back to you. So it's really important to share that that you were there and you didn't get upset, because you know that this just happens, and just to move forward and find someone again who wants to be friends. Have you ever been laughed at by peers? Again, this is a conversation to know that this happens and what to do. If your peer makes if your peers make a joke at your expense, what do? Well, it's really important to talk about that with your teen. Okay, your friends, you're in a group, right? And someone kind of makes a joke at your expense. What do? You laugh with the group. So you teach them, okay, everybody, you stink. Okay, everybody laughs. Everybody's laughing, and you're the butt of the joke. Just oh, yeah, funny one, good one. You can do it that way too. Here's the model. Funny one, good one. Not a good one, funny one. So funny, I forgot to laugh. Those are all responses that are okay when you're being laughed at by peers. You can laugh along with them, or you can be sarcastic, but they really need to understand what sarcasm is. So, do they misunderstand sarcasm from their peers? That's a really important one, because with sarcasm, you have to understand tone of voice. You have to get that they're being funny. You have to share with your teen, that you understand how hard that is. And then, yes, how do you deal with it? Was it successful, and is there a better way to respond? So that next time going into these social situations, it's not painful. They now know what to say. Oh, I'm going to laugh when my peers are being sarcastic with me. I'm just going to laugh, because maybe that's just what they do. And maybe they're not good at sarcasm, so they can just nod their head and laugh. And are they reading the sarcasm? That can get tricky too, and we'll talk about that real soon. So, compassion, it's so important. Have a conversation with your teen about compassion and empathy. So empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings of another. Compassion is empathy in action. It is the sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with the desire to alleviate it. We all make mistakes. So I want to say this very clearly, and I'll read the Teach Compassion, and I will talk about being an upstander soon enough, but I want to be very clear about mistakes. It's not easy to make a mistake. Nobody likes making mistakes, and yet we all make mistakes. The teaching in it, when your teen makes a mistake, it's really important in that moment to teach them not to be mean to themselves. if they are mean to themselves, they cannot identify the mistake, learn from it, and make a change to not make the mistake again. If they are still going over and over, but I did that, I always seem to do that, and I always do that, that's them being upset about the mistake and not in the moment of this mistake going, oh, what was the mistake? Oh, well, the mistake was I didn't put the milk away, so it's soured. So now I know that the next time I need to do it. I need to put it away next time. There are ways that we need to not to break down the mistake so that they understand this is the mistake, this is what you need to learn from it, and this is the change that needs to occur the next time. But if they are stuck in being mean at themselves, it's not going to happen. Okay, so, and the key to empathy is being kind to yourself so others can be kind to you. It's a lot about kindness. We all make mistakes, and that's the way it is. So there's a reason why I brought this up, is that we all have diverse brains. We're all clear on that, right? We all have diverse brains with strengths and weaknesses. And a kid may act annoying. One of your teen's peers may act annoying because their brain responds with anxiety in social situations. So they say and do things wrong. Or they may have a diagnosis like ADHD, where they may not process what is happening as quickly as others, and they may respond without thinking it through. Or their peers may have social communication disorder or autistic spectrum disorder, and they may not read situations, like they may not see someone is upset, and they may not say the right things. They may get too close, and they may not get sarcasm, and they may not read the tone of voice. So if a kid bothers your teen due to their annoying ways, they may have a diagnosis. They may have brain processes that are different from yours. We've all made mistakes too. So it's really important that everyone sees everyone as we all make mistakes. And it feels really badly when we make mistakes, so we want to see it without judgment. So it's really great that if you have those teens who are really great at being social, it's really great to teach compassion. So be an upstander and not a bystander. So the bystander observes and the upstander supports and helps and encourages and reassures and checks in and accepts and invites. So the upstander strategies, when that teen who didn't respond well, who missed it, really missed it in that social situation, and others are berating them for it, it would be really nice to just go stand next to that kid being teased or bullied. It'd be really nice if you get a little assertive and you say to your team, wow, are you one of those ones who will stand up and say, cut it out? Not cool? Maybe. They need to use a very strong tone of voice, not stop it, but stop it. And then say to the kid who's being teased, hey, let's go hang somewhere else, because taking them out of that situation is really wonderful. So it's really great that there will be those out there who have a voice to stand up for those who do not. We're getting close. Body language. So body language, when you're opening the door of communication with your teen, it's really important to impart curiosity and compassion, like I said before. This means that your body language wants to show this. What does curiosity look like? Well, it certainly does not look like this or this, right? That's judgment. Oh, the minute you show judgment, there goes door of the communication closed. So you really want to show that even when you hear that bad grade, or when you hear that the social didn't go the way you could, oh, sounds like that was really difficult for you. See my face? It's not, oh, see, that really went difficult, didn't it? Ew, that really, you want to watch your facial, you want to feel it, you want to impart curiosity. Are your eyebrows creased? Your teen will know. Now, it may be the other way around. It may be that your teen does not read body language well and makes social mistakes because of it. When I spoke before about the messenger who says, about the rumors, if your teen is with other teens and the teen says, I like Simon, and they roll their eyes, your teen may not read it well and they may respond inappropriately and say, wow, nice, you're going to go out with him? Then the peer is confused. That's a miscommunication. So you want to start talking about body language. And when you open that door of communication, you can actually have a conversation about body language. Let's talk about body language. Are you good at reading it? Is it hard for you? How does it feel for you when you're in that social situation? So, and I want to say to all of you, body language and facial expressions can be taught. So here's how you teach body language. Body gestures, facial expressions, tone of voice, all impart meaning and they can be learned. Here's the practice. We're going to look at pictures in a magazine and figure out how they feel. Just like this picture below that I have with all these women, with this woman having different facial expressions. Can you read all of them, right? One looks like this. What does that mean? What does it mean when I do this? What does it mean when I do this? And sometimes when they don't get it, you can have them do it so that they get it. Well, now do it with me. Oh, surprised. Eyes are wide, mouth is open. You can list emotion words and match a facial expression to it. You can play emotion charades. That's very fun to play emotion charades. They just pick a card and then you have to do it like this. And you figure out what it means. You can watch TV with the sound off and figure out how the character feels, but that really annoys them. However, it might be fun for a few minutes just to see if you can figure out how they feel. And then if you do not do sarcasm in your house, it's really important to teach sarcasm teach sarcasm with the facial expressions so that they get it. See how I did that? And you all know what sarcasm means. No, you didn't do that. I don't believe. So really important because if they don't know sarcasm, they're going to miss a lot at school. All right. So reading social cues. I get calls all the time from parents. My teen does not read social cues well. My teen does not read social cues well. And what does that mean exactly, that your teen does not read social cues well, right? And this is what reading social cues means. To avoid making social mistakes, it's really important to have a conversation with your teen about reading a room, reading a person, and reading a situation. When you have that conversation with them in their lives, hold on, something happened just now. Hold on. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Appreciate your time. When you have that conversation with your teen and you're talking about their day, you may really want to get a visual picture about what happened. So it's really good to ask about the situation and the room and what happened during it. It's really important to expand that way. So reading a room. Here's what reading a room is. Yes, it says you look around a room and see what's going on. So here's an example of reading a room. Reading a room is when you walk into a room, let's say you walk into a classroom and you're going to sit down. You may want to see like who's sitting where, or is there fans that are loud really bother me, so I'm going to sit in the middle of the room. Or, oh, there's my friend over there. Oh, I'll go sit over there with them. It's reading a room. You're figuring out what's going on in a room. Reading a person is how they are feeling so that you can match it. So if your friend walked up to you and was like this, and your friend walks up to you and they have this face and they're like, and you say, "Oh, how was your day? I had such a good one, blah, 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 blah." And you're not reading that person that they've had an awful day. And you don't say, what's going on? I'm so sorry you're feeling that way. What's happening? Then that's a missed reading of a person's face to figure out what's going on and to match it and to mirror it. Matching and mirroring is important because you don't want to just stay all happy when they're real sad. You want to ask them what's going on. You can move into making them, to having them feel better. However, at the beginning, you really want to read the person. And then reading a situation is when you see, when I talked about a group that are cliquey, when you see or not, that's reading a situation when you see a group of people who are cliquey. Also, if you see your friend talking to another person and they're really close and they're really talking quietly, you don't want to just go in and barrel in and go into that conversation. You want to read the situation. Oh, they must be talking about something private. I'll catch them later. That's reading a situation appropriately. So reading social cues is very, very important. Lastly, I'm going to leave you quickly because we talked a lot about bringing their self-esteem up because they go through a lot at school. They go through a lot through they can have their situations at school. And it's really important to know who they are and to really celebrate them. So one of the rules that I really encourage you to, or one of the things that I really encourage you to do, you don't even need this rule to do it, but is to write their traits. So I'm going to read you Rule 74, which is be grateful for who I am. So what you want to do with your teen, and this would be a fun thing to do, is you choose 3 words that describe their good traits. You write them down, you choose 3 per day, and you think about those 3 words throughout the day. So you can do one for you and you can do one for your kids. It's always great to build your self-esteem and be grateful for who you are. So then there's a list of words, and because they know that, a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, who are you? What words would you say that you're grateful for within yourself?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Okay, here's some example because your words are powerful and your traits are great. Here are some words: smart, funny, sweet, kind, musician, nice, athletic, talkative, polite, helpful, cute, friendly, curious, playful, energetic, empathetic, respectful, caring, artist, fun, listener." Those are all some traits that are really wonderful. And I just know that all of you have those traits in you. And I hope that you'll think about them within yourself and with your teen. And that when you open that door of communication, you both know how terrific you both are and that you will really listen and talk and hear each other and then do it more and more and more and more. So open that door of communication. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I really, really appreciate your time. So I know I don't know that I went over, but I know that we had some issues getting started. I'm sorry for that. So now I'd be happy if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So I'm going to unmute everyone. I'm going to try my best to do that. Let's see if I can unmute all. Oh, it says mute all. Is there an unmute all? No. Wait, what did I do? Okay, I'll just go through. Oh, unmute. Can you unmute yourself? If you can unmute yourself, if you have any questions, you can ask them, but if you don't, that's okay too. I don't know what ask to unmute means. Let's see. How do I unmute you? Oh gosh, please tell me that I get to do this. Hold on. Let me figure this out. Lauren, can you unmute yourself so you can help me here?
Sure. Who would like to unmute? Or maybe the person who would like to unmute can ask a question in the chat.
Oh yeah, chat would be great. Okay, I think that they're good. Thank you so much. Lots of great info. Fantastic. Good. Thank you so much. That's all. Thank you so much. Very nice. Thank you for the thanks. I really appreciate it. And then there doesn't seem to be questions, so I think we're good to go.
Sue, thank you so much for joining. And what I'll do is send out the recording to communications and they can post it on Parent Square. And your email is right front and center. So
Yeah.
um,
Easy. If anybody wants to contact me and ask a question, I'd be happy to answer it. I'd be happy to. So thank you. Lauren, thank you so much for having me do this. This has been very,
absolutely.
very interesting and very enjoyable.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
think you can go ahead and press, if you press stop recording, the Zoom will stay on. It'll just end the recording.